The biggest question is, do we have enough water for everyone to drink it and stay hydrated through the stream? That's the biggest, most important Q&A. Q to A. Oh, good. People are starting to wake up and turn up. Good stuff. Good stuff. I should probably put my moving face on stream. Moving face. There we go. Hi, chat. How you doing? I really hope my fan doesn't break during this because, of course, it's super hot in the UK and... yeah, you can kind of hear my fan. Little bit you can hear it. It's really hot in the UK and we don't have any kind of AC units. They're prioritizing installing them in like hospitals. Unfairly, of course, to Vtubers. But we'll manage. We'll manage. Always we have to manage. Good. Welcome, everyone. Good. I've just put out a video on the FAQ for the Tacoma event. And that's got a load of stuff that's interesting if you're thinking, what? This is a rule that could come in? My goodness. Is the deadly prize sticky stratagem on FAQ to not be a permanent sticky? Which detachment's that one in? It's a Space Marine one, I know. The Ultramarines one? I thought it was the Raven Guard one. Or the one that's not Raven Guard, but kinda like Raven Guard. Vanguard Spearhead, was it there? A deadly prize, is that the one we're talking about? It says it's sabotaged, it remains under your control even if you have no models in range of it until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. Which seems like it has a pretty clear endpoint. And I think, though I'm not sure, they have, oh yeah, they have in the FAQ said it remains sabotaged. Yeah, it remains sabotaged, but it's not under your control. And you only like detonate it if the enemy moves onto it while it's under your control and it's sabotaged. So the sabotageness happens. What happens when your opponent leaves? It's still sabotaged, sure, but it's no longer under anyone's control. It doesn't revert back to your control. It's still sabotaged so that if you control it and it's sabotaged, as in the bomb hasn't gone off yet, then the enemy moves back onto it, then they'll take some damage. It should be fine. Do you know if the FAQ clarified if in the Gene Stealer cult the attached leader has to die to make the unit eligible to cult ambush? It is in the video, and I think it doesn't. That was my main concern. So you're going to lose 10 acolytes. You're going to still have a Primus. The Primus is alive. You cannot bring back the 10 acolytes because the unit has not been destroyed. How is winter in Australia? 9 degrees seems pretty warm for winter. I'm used to like 4 degrees at the height. It's crazy stuff. Different hemispheres. Imagine the world being spherical. Or somewhat spherical. That would be wild. Now, the idea of what we're doing today is... we're meant to be waiting for this video that Games Workshop's going to put out, which is going to be kind of like the last FAQ, but the last FAQ was mainly about 40k and the rules that are coming for 11th edition that then came out. And they were not very clear on what they were saying. How many points do we use for incursion? They said strike force. No, how many points do we use for 1500 points? They said strike force, then described incursion. Did the FAQ nerf agents again? No. In fact, agents are one of the few armies that have an ability to leave the board in turn 1 and return by deep strike. I think deep strike in turn 1. So really nothing for the agents. That's what you should assume. Nothing good comes for the agents. I think we should find... Where are we? That is not a relevant thing I need anymore. That's still saying it's on... Oh, that's better. I was worried that my video was like, it got 500 views. It's like, I think it has more than 500 views by now. But there we go. It fixed itself. I need to go to the Warhammer channel and check the Warhammer channel and make sure that the Warhammer channel hasn't released its video yet. And that Warhammer channel is... I don't know which one, the 40k Warhammer channel? Or the regular 40k, the regular Warhammer, the channel, the Warhammer, the channel, the Warhammers. Warhammer, the Warhammer. If you like my videos, then you may enjoy actual Warhammer. Ah, there we go, there we go, okay, okay. They've got it ready. It's gonna premiere in 20 minutes. They're setting it up. Please stop crashing. There we go. Will this FAQ require another FAQ to FAQ the FAQ? Oh, I very much expect so, yes. Warhammer TV, the YouTube channel of the miniature game. Okay, good. Good. People are asking questions a lot in their chat. There's only 156 of them. I can't see how many of them there are with us. My thing's stuck on 10. I know there's more than 10 of you here. Do we outnumber the Warhammer channel? Maybe. Maybe we do. There's no need to harass them. I think they already know that I exist. Okay, so this FAQ, no, Q&A, this Q&A is meant to be about what we have for as a Q&A for the things they revealed from the big summer preview. I'm hoping that they mostly talk about the dinosaurs. Because dinosaurs in Kill Team seems weird. Dinosaurs for the Eldar, which we call Exodites, in 40k seems much better. Oh, you have your first game of 11th edition tomorrow. You're debating whether to use the FAQ or not. You can always use bits of it. You can stick to the core rules and then use a particular FAQ if it comes up, if it's really relevant. Yeah. Mr. Snake Cake has the right idea. I think that would have been a better FAQ. Okay. I need to put this somewhere. There we go. That's just me. That's just my face. That's not right. I don't want to watch us while we're watching us. There we go. That's a filter. There we go. Okay, that's good. That's good. Right. So they'd mentioned something. What did we get last time? Oh yeah, the starter sets were mentioned in the big preview. That was like the really, really tiny, cool introductory set. They called it different things in different articles, whether it's the starter set or an introductory set, which has some unique orc models and an orc knob and a new Space Marine lieutenant. And then also like 5 or 6 pretty generic intercessors. They really should just bring in tactical marines. We're getting so bored of intercessors because they all just have a bolter. There's nothing special about them. There's no missile launcher, there's no flamer. It's not like, ooh, this one's got a really fancy plasma gun and is posed in an interesting way. None of that. I think you can make your own Exodites pretty well from the Skink Raptor riders from Age of Sigmar / Old World. They should work pretty well, and then you swap them out for what looks like an Age of Sigmar elf. High elf. Light elf. White elf. I don't know what we're calling those elves in Age of Sigmar. Which ones are Teslas' elves? Not the ones that he made that are under the sea, but the generic ones. The Lumineth Realm Lords. Yeah, them. You could do that. Yeah. So you can make your own. You can make your own pretty well. An elf is an elf, whether it's a space elf, or a sea elf, or a underground elf, or a witch elf. The witch elves make pretty good witches for 40k. Yeah, they're pretty good. White elves, we can't call them that anymore. They all wear white. Vampire elf. Oh, I don't know if that's allowed. There is a vampire elf though, isn't there? Super special name character in Age of Sigmar. Yeah, we've got clown elves. Seer Council elves. Dark elves. Are we allowed to say dark elves? Is that allowed? It continues the D&D thing. Santa's elves. That's a good one. Yeah, the Gretchen don't have the big pointy ears anymore, do they? They've all got very, very limp-looking ears. Oh, Dark Elves are removed from the store. Yeah, that's because they're very slowly taking the Sigmar's universal aspect out of Age of Sigmar's Cities of Sigmar, so it's just going to be the humans. A very limited number of humans. And then nothing particularly special, like, oh, can we have flagellants? No flagellants. McFatson, thank you. Copy-paste Deathwatch kill teams for baseline Marines and call them tactical. Yeah, I mean, the Fortis kill team is what I use to represent a tactical squad in my Deathwatch if I want to have a tactical squad. Because the Deathwatch cannot take tactical squads. They would be far too powerful. But 9 bolters and a heavy weapon? It's a something. I wouldn't want them to be like monopose or fixed. The Gretchen have average sized ears. Sure. Good, of course. I'm surprised that the Wood Elves didn't see more play. I think just people liked High Elves better in the Old World. Even though they're not in the Old World realm, they're in Ulthuan, which is a sea away. They still seem to find a way to get involved in massive fights all across the Old World. Plus they have their empire. Sort of. You miss Deathwatch veterans. Are they not available to buy from Games Workshop anymore? But you can still buy them. And they're still around, and they're not even legends or anything. No, you don't need to send tactical squads to legends for the sake of game design. It's fine to roll 4 different weapon profiles. Look at all the kill teams we're getting that get ported over to 40k where there's 6 weapons for 9 people. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Gotta paint your Deathwatch. Yeah, I'm... Spray them black, and that's mostly done. You can use them in agents, that's true. I'm looking at agents at the moment, and I'm just not feeling it at the moment. It's kind of... Like, I'd have to play Disruption if I want to do the Imperialist fleet, which I'm not super keen on, as a lot of their missions seem to be... We do the same things, but my opponent gets another way to score, or an easier way to score. And looking at the rules, it's like, okay, the Deathwatch are just so much better as Space Marine Deathwatch than they are as Agents Deathwatch. Having an army rule, having better damage on weapons, having lethal hits on weapons. And that's just comparing like the Aquila kill team to the Decimus kill team. the Deathwatch version is better. Yeah, I mean, bring out a tactical squad for Kill Team. That's totally fine. That is absolutely fine. Ordo Hereticus list. That's nice. Get an Inquisitor, get some Battle Sisters, get an Immolator. Maybe that again, and there you go, 500 points. And you get Purge the Foe as your disposition. It's not a very good detachment in terms of detachment rule or stratagems. I've played it. It's not that good. Try the Assassins. They've changed quite a few of the dispositions from what was advertised as their dispositions to what the dispositions actually are. You've got to check that link which tells you what the dispositions are. I'll put it in chat just so everyone has it, because it's also not on the Games Workshop downloads. It's its whole separate website, which is really annoying. Is the new 11th edition core rulebook now the time to throw it out? Well, we haven't got the first FAQs yet. You could throw it out already, since the whole thing is not complete. You need to have the app for that, and I really don't like looking up things in the app because sometimes you can't find them in the app, whereas if it was a PDF, you could do Control F and you could find it. And that'd be super easy. Ooh, 20 coppers, 10 sisters, and an Immolator at the core. Yeah, that's definitely the theme. You've got the theme of Ordo Hereticus right there. Disappointed about the core rules. Like, the 11th edition rules are fine. The principle of the game generally is fine. It's all of the Games Workshop-y stuff that comes with it. The things like, hey, yeah, the core rules book doesn't have all the core rules. Oh, we've got a lot of big problems in releasing army rules for Sisters and Genestealer Cult and Necrons. These are problems that people who play the armies noticed within 5 minutes. Dispositions are interesting. It's an interesting way to match up primary missions. I've seen tables like this before, including in 40k. I think we had some in the Pariah Nexus campaign Crusade book. This sort of table. What I found though is I've been playing Reconnaissance a lot. Of like the 7 or 8 games I've played of 40k so far, 5 of them have been Reconnaissance. 3 of them have been the same primary mission as my opponent is continually taken hold. And you can't really say, I would like to play a different primary mission, because that's not what the system is designed for. They really wanted to do Taken Hold versus Reconnaissance because they hadn't done that mission before, whereas I've done it 3 times. And this could be their only chance. Who knows how many other Reconnaissance players there are. I wouldn't dare say that dispositions make up for some Lost Crusade stuff. Not even slightly. And the campaign deck, the Dominatus deck, having started to play it, it's pretty thin. There's not that much to it. I can't even see me getting 2 playthroughs out of it, which is what I was hoping to do. Minimum 2 playthroughs. It only cost about £4 because you can get it secondhand really cheaply, because people who are getting the big launch box didn't really care about the deck. Do I think all the staff at Games Workshop only play Ultramarines? It's looking that way for sure. Or maybe Tau, they play Space Marines, but they don't play Dark Angels. Dark Angels have had a lot of problems with their rules not quite working right. I don't know if any of them play Custodes. I really don't think any of them play Sisters or Genestealer Cult. Don't like your Vanguard primary as an Orc player. I don't know if they play Tau more than Ultramarines. That's surprising if they do. Yeah, we do know they have someone playing Necrons. I can't remember his name. But yes, I mean, I thought he would have noticed the problems and started implementing such problems. removal. I mean, the removal of the problems rather than picking more things to work. It's the same armies that cause the same problems, and the ones that are, hey, you can fight me, but if you don't hit me hard enough or with the right weapons that you had to pick before the game started, you're going to lose. And that's Knights, Custodes, and Necrons. Do you have enough stuff you can focus fire and take down a whole Necron block consistently again and again? Do you have enough anti-tank firepower you can bring down a Knight every turn? And do that every turn again and again? Do you have enough high strength, high damage hits that when you get through the armor save and invulnerable save of the Custodes, you can put them down? Have you got damage 3 weapons is really the question. And I do with Deathwatch hammers. I don't anymore with the Genestealer Occult Aberrants. I really like the Aberrants in the Index when they were like smashy, smashy, smash. I don't know if there's an Eldar player. We don't know what armies they play. To be honest, this new upcoming event next week in Tacoma, I looked up how to pronounce it and I've pronounced it about 4 different ways. Tacoma. Yeah. In Washington, D.C. area. That might be the first real playtesting of 11th edition that Games Workshop is watching. Because they won't have done anywhere near the amount of playtesting that is going to be played that weekend. How good are Grey Knights in 11th edition? I don't know. Their profile's pretty good. 2+ armor save, 2 wounds, the basic Space Marines, but oh, it's Washington State, not DC. Is one the city and one's not? Interesting. Some place. Yeah, we might be moving into the 11th edition beta testing stuff. Really. And then at the end of September when the Space Marine Codex comes out, then it might be properly done. Space Marine Codex is expected the end of September, and that's the point where we might see, oh look, there's a brand new tactical squad. Why didn't they release a new tactical squad or show off a new tactical squad instead of Manus Kilius, best friend of Manius Calgar? They're on opposite sides of the country? That's even more confusing. Why is Washington... Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so weird. There's also a Washington in England. I've been to it. It's nothing special. It's where George Washington was born. Sometimes Americans turn up and they're very upset. Okay. They ran out of names. Why not say New Washington? Or New Washington? That would make sense. So this is on the West Coast? Right. Okay. And DC isn't a state. Good. America is very interesting to try and find out about. Yeah, there's a city in Canada. Let me find where I am on the map. That's it. I can travel from Toronto to Washington and it takes about 10-minute drive. But those are both places in the UK in the northeast of England. That is not relevant to Toronto, Canada. Good. We're just trying to understand America. Right, how is this live stream coming? Is it ready yet? Are they doing it? Nope, they're not ready yet. Now I'm assuming that once again this will be a live, like a premiere. So they've pre-recorded the video, not necessarily edited the video sufficiently, and then they're gonna just release that like a video. So I could pause it and talk about stuff as we go, which is probably the better way to do it, because it's not like a live stream where, the live stream, oh my goodness, we're missing part of the live stream. It's going to be a basic video. That may be what we missed last time, because I did miss stuff about the boarding actions. They mentioned something about boarding actions in the last Q&A, and I totally missed it because they did it straight after a question about the law. Am I a northern lad? Yeah, of course I'm a northern lad. When does the 1 update a month period end? It's meant to be 1 July, 1 August, 1 September. I'm assuming that they will definitely do the July one because they've said it's coming in 2 weeks. Ooh, maybe the 22nd it'll come out. Then August they might skip if they're like, yeah, we've totally got this. We have totally understood 11th edition and fixed all the major problems. We're good. Then in September they'll realize, oh my goodness, there are so many errors. The vampire's done 3 more hours worth of error videos. We need to fix this. And also, like, the Orc and Space Marine Codex will be out. And 3 years ago, when they released the Space Marine Codex, they also broke the Death Watch so that Death Watch couldn't attach any characters to units. They were all based off the Vanguard veterans without jump packs, and nothing in the Space Marine Codex referred to Vanguard veterans without jump packs. So you couldn't attach any characters. And they fixed that eventually in, like, December of 2023. Silly stuff. Someone's being mean. Someone's gonna get timed out. Okay, is it ready now? No. No, it's not ready. Okay. Oh yeah, starter sets. The starter sets coming. We now know about starter sets. We also know about their terrain sets. A bit more about that. Now then. Here we go. This is just a trailer. We're counting down. Right, let's arrange this better. Okay, that's fully arranged already. Undo that error. And we don't need their chat. We don't need to see what's going on in their chat. We have the best chat here already. I don't know what their audio levels are going to be like. I'm hoping it's not too incredibly loud or incredibly quiet. I'm hoping... I've got it low. I've got it low at first. And you should hear nothing at the moment. Don't worry. No, the starter sets don't have dice. So that just in case it's really loud, it doesn't blow out everyone's eardrums. New Trazen model? Well, it could go together with that new book that's coming. Infinite and the Diviner.
Hello everybody and welcome to the big summer preview Q&A session.
Quanda. We
asked you to send in questions and boy did you respond. We got loads in our inbox and it was good fun to read through them all.
Yeah, we went through hundreds of them. We got the best ones. Yeah.
All on these little cards.
Can you hear that well
There's
enough?
some common themes, so we'll start right at the beginning, I guess. And there's a bunch of questions about the new Orcs and the Orc Codex. Question number 1, are new codexes cheaper now they are softcover?
That's a good question, and they are cheaper now that they're softcover. They are about a third cheaper. Depends on currency, but they are a bit less than buying the current
cheaper codexes.
Cool.
I got one for you.
That's good.
Can you show a size comparison between the new style codex and the old ones, please?
I'm so glad you asked, and I came prepared. I actually rummaged through the archive and bought one of every Orc Codex we've ever done. This is the new one. It comes in a slipcase, and it's bijou. It rolls in at like 178 pages, and it's this big, which means it's this big compared to the first ever Orc Codex, which came out in 2nd edition, or the 3rd edition Codex,
and so on. It to the 2nd edition one.
Thicker, but shorter?
Yeah, and I think that is the thickest Orc Codex we've had, isn't it?
Yeah,
well, of course it's thicker. If you're trying to get the same amount of stuff into smaller pages, there's going to be more pages.
I would argue is the most packed.
Stop bragging about the pages. You're small and soft. That's not what people want.
Nice.
But cheaper, that's good.
There we go. My question for you. In the summer preview, you showed off Codex Orcs and its new format with more lore and more lore sections for all the units. Will this new format be for all upcoming 11th edition codexes to the same extent?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. So the Orc Codex effectively lays out the shape of what codexes will look like going forwards. Future codexes obviously don't have the same kinds of sections, but they have a similar sort of theme, that they have the same deep dive into the lore and they explore the faction in a cool new way. The Space Marine Codex, for example, which is hot on the heels of the Orc one soon after, explores the way that the Space Marine chapter works from the perspective of a Space Marine fortress monastery. So it goes through the different bits of the chapter keep and the librarium and the chaplaincy and stuff like that.
The layout of the fortress.
Explore the lore of the
Not
Space Marine
like
chapter.
all of the different
and other codexes will do similar things to their
where the tactical marines are.
Very cool. I've got a question about hardcovers. Will this format be available for 11th edition codexes? Maybe a collector's edition could be a hardcover.
Well, it's almost like I picked that one on purpose because I had seen the collector's edition for Codex Orcs. It looks exactly like this.
You can get it in hardback, and then it only costs one-third more than a previous Codex.
Green foil. It's got a sort of a fold-out thing that sort of clasps shut. Otherwise, it's the same Codex, but it is beautifully presented in hardback, and that's the collector's edition.
Edited that from
so if you do
like
want
a fold-out
codexes
thing.
In particular, they'll be
Better editing's available. Better
confirmed.
words are optional.
There we go. And now I've got to get this back on. Done. Right, perfect. So, which armies, moving on to Exodites, will be able to field the new Exodite squads in games of Warhammer 40,000? Loads of questions on this topic.
Yeah, so lots of people are very excited about Exodites, obviously.
Space
Exodites fit
answer.
into the Eldari force. So they are a separate sort of subculture of Eldar, separate from the Harlequins and Corsairs and the Craft Worlds. But they do get on very well with the Craft Worlds. The Craft Worlds ride to their defense when they get invaded by Orcs and Imperials
it's quite
and stuff.
heavy in the lore for some of them, isn't it?
They don't really get on with the Drukhari at all. You can't put them in a Drukhari army. So it's just Craft World Eldar.
Great.
My question, which is rather important to me, will we get separate transfer sheets for Exodites? Alternatively, will Eldari transfer sheets change to include Exodite runes?
So as a fellow decal enthusiast, I could have literally asked this question myself.
Oh, I do love it when they talk about the decals.
In it you will find Kill
Tiny
Team
sticky
Exodite
sheets.
Dragon Master's transfer sheet, which contains 6 different clans of Exodites.
Well, Ynnari are
decals.
also in the
so you
Codex.
can, and they've got like interesting names like the Clan
Mine
of
is
the
Calgon,
Ghost
Exodite
Star.
Raptor coming.
A Ghost Star? I should put my glasses on. Might be Ghost Stag. That's terrible.
So
Yeah,
if you
6
play them in
different
the
clans.
Ynnari detachment,
and they're
sure,
really
you
nice
could have
looking, and they
dinosaurs.
fit with that whole.
And then
all that
I
sort of
suppose you could
mythos.
also have the Drukhari as long as you take them from within the Eldari Codex. And that one detachment. Then it should be fine.
Is the large Armageddon terrain set available unpainted? Only small unpainted and large painted were mentioned in the preview stream.
So, if you want the same amount of terrain that comes in the ready painted Battlefield Armageddon set, then you would buy 2 of the Combat Patrol terrain set. The reason that it's got half the amount of terrain is because it's made really on the assumption that you might buy the Warhammer 40,000 starter set, which contains the same amount of terrain again. So buy the starter set and buy the Combat Patrol terrain set. And
so remember, the starter set is not the same as the launch box, because the launch box came with no terrain.
2 of the same starter set.
You've already got the launch box. That's been out for a while.
Yeah, basically, you just pick the one that suits your needs. That was easy, wasn't it? Good, right. Exodites again. Will there be more Exodite units released for Warhammer 40,000?
Well, the only units we know about so far are the ones in this box, but it is quite a flexible kit. So the kit can make your Dragon
Knights,
and it also makes the Dragon Masters, which make 3 different
Exodites on
which work as independent
dragons.
Characters. So from that one set, you effectively get
3
4
different
data sheets worth of stuff to put into an Eldar
like a captain character, a psychic character, and a sniper character.
Are the Battlefield Armageddon kits, the unpainted iterations, compatible with other Sector Imperialis and Mechanicum terrain sets? Can I mix and match the walls, doors,
It also comes with orcs. Yeah.
So the Armageddon Battlefield terrain sets are designed to be fully interactive with each other, but there's not specific fittings that work across our other 40k sets. What I would say is, obviously, there's a very similar sort of design aesthetic across a lot of Imperial terrains. You know, you see the same sort of industrial shapes and motifs and things. They work really nicely alongside each other, but you won't necessarily be able to
people were assuming that, okay, well, maybe...
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Perfect. Can we get some
could try and make
clarification
it
on the
compatible
healing
with
keyword?
anything has been
Can a
in the
character
past?
model, this was asked a bunch, can a character model that's been killed be revived by a healing mechanic or character, for example, Necromunda or dies, can he be reanimated?
Yeah, so we got loads of questions about this. Wasn't specifically a question.
Yeah, they got loads of questions about it because healing is not in the core rules. That's why they got lots of questions about it.
Reanimated.
Yeah, so we got loads of questions about this. Wasn't specifically a question from the preview, but since we got asked it so much, we thought we would address it. This is a topic that gets specifically addressed in the upcoming update, which is coming out in like about 10 days' time, so really close. And
so about
the
Wednesday,
specifics of healing and specifically characters and healing gets addressed and hopefully sorted out to everyone's satisfaction.
So probably going to be based on what we're seeing with the Tacoma, with the Washington State event pack FAQ, where you can't resurrect characters, but also if you have an ability that brings back a character, then they get released separate to the unit. Like Celestine gets precisioned out and comes back, she's no longer in the unit, which doesn't seem right. But also that is her max unit size, so she can't then start healing sisters, because she's just by herself then, and that kind of sucks.
In the new Orc Codex releases, will Gretchen still have runt herds available as part of the unit?
Yes, they will. The grots that come inside Armageddon or the Warhammer 40,000 starter set don't have a runt herd with them, but the separate set does, so you can include a runt herd if you want to keep your grots in line or not.
You can
there'll be a runt herd sold separately.
Yeah, it depends how cruel you're feeling, I suppose, whether you need a runt herd. Similar question, actually. Will the Orc Boys unit go to 1 nob to every 9 boys, and can they take more than 1 special weapon per 10? Asking for my nearly 800 Orc Boys.
That's an excessive number of Orc Boys. You have a problem. You've probably been collecting since 2nd edition. That could be why. Yeah, okay, so you wanted to answer the question, and we could have told you, but they won't know. They won't have decided yet, because they won't have finished writing the FAQs until, I don't know, maybe like the Monday? Like Monday the 19th, assuming it's going to be released on the Wednesday. That's when they'll have finished writing the FAQ. Until then, they're definitely going to wait until after the weekend event is done, which is only next weekend. So then they'll have to write up everything and then release it. So, will the 10 grots without a runt herder be a legal unit? I'm assuming that that's going to be the case. That you will have, essentially, like Zogwart is its own character, then there'll be a generic runt herder sold separately. So you'll get the 10 Gretchen that'll be sold separately, probably exactly the same ones as in the Armageddon launch set. And then there'll be a £25, which will be like $42 individual guy. And that'll be the runt herder. And that'll be a support character you can add to the unit. And it'll be support so that you cannot choose not to have him there. And then Zogwart can also, as a leader, be attached to that unit, because you can have a leader and a support character. That is my understanding. That is the simplest way they could do it. Don't mess it up, Games Workshop.
So the new Orc Codex, which is obviously coming out fairly soon, has a new datasheet for boys. Boys
we've seen it,
are
new
now
datasheet.
1 knob for every 9 boys.
So you can have multiple knobs.
You can have multiples. And the other thing you can do is that you can effectively have,
knobs have 3 wounds.
1 of each of the special weapons for every 10 of the orcs you have in the unit. So if you have a unit of 20, you could have 2 big shooters, 2 rockets, 2 burners.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, you can have a lot of DACA in the unit.
If you're familiar with Dark Eldar Kabbalites, where they used to have 1 of a Splinter Cannon or a Dark Lance and 1 of a Shredder or a Blaster, then in 10th edition you had all 4 in a unit of 10. It's going to be like that. That's a lot of special weapons. Do you see how tactical squads are not a problem?
All the choppers and shooters and sluggers and all the rest of it.
So if you have 800 Orc Boys, that's a lot of options open up to you.
Yep. Even if the orcs don't win the Siege of Deathmire campaign, will they still get new toys?
Yes, Siege of Deathmire has been a fun experience for everybody to
the Deathmire thing is just
new sets they've bought
what's revealed
to celebrate the new edition. And all it means is which order will reveal some stuff in. So don't worry, Orc players, you'll get your treat.
Yeah, they're not like...
but you should still try really hard.
I'm wondering if people thought, are they taking kits that they've already done and then just smushing them? Like, orcs didn't win. Time to destroy these orc copter boys. Smash, smash, smash. No, the community should have done better. Release more individual Ultramarines heroes instead. That's clearly what they want.
Oh yeah, try and win, because the Imperium's been trouncing you. And I'm being very grateful for all the reveals.
I can tell you, though,
go on.
In this week, at the moment, week 2 and week 1 were both won by the Imperium. The Orcs are slightly ahead in week 3.
So come on, the Orcs.
Yeah, so if they win that, and also all of our Warhammer stores report Orc victories on average, the Orcs hold them to a draw and drag Deathmire into a perpetual state of unending war, which is kind of a win if you're an Orc, right?
That's what the Orcs want.
They did a campaign like this in 9th edition, and it was like 6 weeks, and it was Imperium win, Imperium win, Imperium win, Chaos win, Chaos win, ooh, Imperium win. Like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, it feels like the Imperium just has to win. Otherwise, you might actually unbalance the galaxy.
Anything, but it was quite funny. Will Angron ever achieve a significant victory in the lore?
Well, I mean, he has taken out a
fleet
run. That's pretty harsh. So, obviously, he had some fairly big wins during
the Great Crusade and Heresy.
The Great Crusade and Heresy is obviously like conquered loads of planets.
Hasn't done much since.
1-on-1. I mean,
he would say all of them, Russ all of the demon primax.
He would say that.
No major achievements.
He, in Warhammer 40,000, effectively destroyed one of the major branches of the Indomitus Crusade. He destroyed one of the largest astropathic relays in the galaxy. He wiped out almost every living Sanguinary Guard in existence. He was
that's
pretty
shout.
good, right?
Yeah. Killed a lot of Blood Angels.
He almost killed Dante before the Lion showed up to save the day. So obviously you can't kill Dante. He's got a 1-up invulnerable save, even if he doesn't want it. So
that's good.
You know, he's not going to kill Dante.
They're doing the Dante wants to die joke.
I agree.
It's a bad meme.
No more Angron slander, please.
Old. And all his friends have died twice over.
Would it be possible to do more designer interviews like you did for the Armageddon miniatures?
Man, I hope so. I really enjoyed doing those. The roundtables with the guys from the Warhammer studio were really fun and quite illuminating. So hopefully, yes. Not unlike the last question. This was asked a bunch, so I've collected some of these questions into one thing. Quick fire. Where is the Wolf King? Vulcan lives. Where are you hiding Perturabo? We need a clear answer. Are we going to see the return of our Primarch Sanguinius? For the love of the Emperor, can we please get another loyalist? This is
because in the last FAQs were like, no, all the Primarchs that haven't come back already are dead.
So I think we had a lot of questions about Primarchs. I think the last time we had a Q&A, we sort of hinted that maybe the Primarchs were all dead. I might have slightly misspoken when I said all the Primarchs were dead. What is true is that your favourite Primarch is dead. Whichever one your favourite one is, he's dead.
Not mine. Yep. Mine's fine.
Is there a high Gothic name for the bolter?
So,
do a Storm of Chaos.
Oh, yeah, that was that's why I put the question in the stack.
Because Storm of Chaos, right, that was a campaign they did in the year 2000. And Chaos was losing, absolutely losing, getting utterly thrashed. Out of every faction that there was, only Tomb Kings were behind them, and no one was playing Tomb Kings at the time. Then they were like, oh yeah, and Chaos is doing so good, and they're going to get to the gates of Altdorf, and it's like 90% loss for Chaos in all games reported. And then they were like, no, they narrowly failed. Damn. And then the fantasy equivalent of Gazgul turned up and kicked the fantasy equivalent of Archaon in the head and was like, there, I'm the strongest. Everyone can go home now. Then later they redid that with the End Times. Much messier.
I've been researching all around Games Workshop headquarters. I've spoken to you, went and found Wade, who
he's researched all over by speaking to the person next to him.
And we couldn't find one. So, but the question has got me on a quest. So when
feels like we should have a high Gothic
when I finally locate that name, I'll let people know.
The bolt gun.
When are the updated rules for Combat Patrol released?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
when are we getting Combat Patrol?
Asked a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you haven't released Combat Patrol.
Updates will happen alongside the first of the monthly updates for Warhammer 40,000, and they will be on or around the 22nd of July.
Cool. All right. So not.
Okay, we now have a date for when the balance patch is coming. It's the 22nd of July, everyone. The date I predicted is the actual date. And then we might start getting some rules for Combat Patrol.
Too far.
Does Red the Maw from Warhammer Age of Sigmar have a favourite tasting enemy to battle against?
Rules. There's no text for this one.
I mean, one would assume elves taste the nicest. But for sheer volume, maybe is cannibalism okay with the ogres?
I think it's definitely okay. Yeah. I think it's probably one of their sort of like promotional strategies, to be honest.
Ogres,
so other ogres would be my guess.
Are we moving into fantasy?
More
away from rules like the Combat Patrol rules that we should have had already.
As well. There's a lot of eating on one of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
He lives in Gur as well, so he probably hunts some of the big kind of mega beasts that roam around the landscape.
Megafauna taste the best.
Seraphon-ridden mounts might be good eating.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd never thought I'd be answering that question, to be honest.
Chad, if you were reincarnated as an animal, would you want to be a carnivore or a herbivore? Because I was thinking herbivore. Just the food is always right there. You walk over it every day, and there's always more of it. Seems great.
Right, a little bit of a dip back into Warhammer 40,000. This was asked a bunch in different ways. Esteemed adepts of the Munitorum Distribution Hub Nottingham, by the absolute power of my Inquisitional Rosette, I request immediate clarification. Okay, so some of these are quite long-winded. Here's a quicker stab. Give it to me straight, I can handle it. Will Imperial agents get any more support during 11th edition?
I don't know if I'm ready for the answer. They're probably going to go, yeah, ooh, Chad. Hey, we'll let you know that there will be some models at some point. And that's probably all they'd say. Do we know when Legends units get added to the app? Yes, it's each army's Legends unit gets added when their Codex comes out. I mean, Imperial Agents, for the like 2 people that have been playing them, have somewhere between, it's something like a 70% win rate. One person won 4 out of 5 games, one person won 3 out of 5 games. So, what's the answer?
Yeah, so we got lots of questions about Imperial Agents. The answer is that yes, you will get more support as the new edition goes on. There's no new detachments at launch, but we do still know there's loads of people who love those kind of cool little niche bits of Imperial lore, like the Arbites and the Inquisition.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I've been reading Hive by Dan Abnett, and I'm super tempted to start an Arbites army of my own.
Yeah, so you'll continue to be able to use those in Warhammer 40,000. They're not going away.
Perfect.
Okay, not going away is not the same as getting support. No detachments on launch, you say. We've noticed, and we've also noticed that they're all 3 detachment points, so you can't play them in in less than 2,000 point games, or in like 1,000 point games. So, you don't believe Legends units will be added with the Codex? Well, that was what they said in the last FAQ. Q&A. In the Q&A. That was when they were going to add Legends. Because I made sure that they asked them. We did a whole thing where we got our questions together and we asked them all together, and then they were going to answer them all together. Yeah. Crazy. I wouldn't say there's any new information about Exodites, just that only the Eldar faction can use them, which we assumed already. This edition, the Imperial Agents get an 11 put in their book, but otherwise they just reprint the book. Yeah, So we could do with some new detachments soon, but there's no new detachments on launch. Well, I'm so glad I hadn't noticed. 15 Orc detachments, 5 middling to terrible Imperial Agents detachments, 35 Space Marine detachments, more and more detachments. I am kind of hoping that when the Space Marine Codex comes, they take a lot of the detachments that are, okay, there's this detachment, the Gladius Task Force, or the Ultramarines version of it, and just make it one, but with an extra paragraph that says they get better in some way if you have the Ultramarines character leading the army. That works. That seems better, rather than the sheerly absurd number of detachments we have for the Space Marines. Okay.
Ogres
yeah, there's going to be a lot of
cultures in the army: Gutbusters and Beastclaw.
No, they will have 3, which is Gutbusters, Beastclaws, and the Maw Seekers, which are the ogres that are devoted to the Gulping God.
Cool.
Right.
The new Ogre Maw Tribes army set looks great.
Because it's Age of Sigmar, not Warhammer.
Do the contents make up a spearhead force?
A nebulous thing, rather than an old world, where it was a huge, massive mouth
it gives you more than you need to make a spearhead. So if you take the contents of the Ogre box set and you take out 3 of the Gluttons, 5 of the Gluttons, that gives you the spearhead.
So essentially, everything you need for a spearhead inside the box.
Plus some Oglins.
Yeah, spares.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening. I had a question. Sorry, I'll say that again. I'll listen.
And you take out 5 of the Gluttons. That gives you the spearhead.
So essentially, everything you need for a spearhead inside the box.
Plus some Oglins.
Yeah, spares.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a question about the new Chaos Dragon miniature for the Old World Warriors of Chaos. Are we able to build the model without the rider and their saddle?
Yes, the answer is yes. I actually went and had a chat to the
Agents
design team behind it.
And
you can build the model
with
without
an army rule when you play
Chaos
them
Lord,
alone.
the Chaos Sorcerer, or the Throne, and it doesn't leave any weird holes or anything. It just looks like a beautiful unridden dragon, perfect for representing Galrak, for example.
Cool.
Nice.
I do have a dragon
ogres,
like that.
Could we get a list of the Ogre Maw Tribes miniatures, which will be going to Legends after the battle table?
Legends, people panicking about Legends.
Please hold. Okay, yes, we can. So obviously, this is a fairly major range update for the ogres. There is some stuff.
When they've finished reading your question, they should really throw that card away.
I can tell you the things that get the new model are the Butcher, the Hunters and Frost Sabers, the Tyrant, the Iron Guts, and the Gluttons. We've seen all those already.
Yes.
Staying in the army, so that's kits that stick around, are the Scrap Launcher and Iron Blaster, the Thunder Tusk, the Stonehorn, the Bloodpelt Hunter, the Man Trapper, the Gorgers, the Morpit, and Kragnos. So still quite a bunch of stuff that sticks around. And then leaving the range, although I would say that a lot of these you could probably find a sort of counts as alternative within the range. Man-Eaters, the current Man-Eater models are going away. You
could so the mercenaries are going.
If you wanted to. Yetis are going away if you wanted to use them as Gorgers. I think that'd be a perfectly reasonable stand-in.
Yeah.
The Fire Belly's going away. Lead Belchers are going away. But
you're getting rid of the Lead Belchers? Well, yeah, because they brought out an Age of Sigmar unique character who is a lady with a big cannon, and she shoots a big cannon, so you can't have a unit of all cannons. That takes away the specialness. Town need a new army rule to include auxiliaries? Nah, I mean, they do have auxiliary detachments that sort of in some way work like that. I don't think it's becoming the detachments aren't quite the stratagem overload, because it's limited the number of stratagems you have, and you don't have to remember every detachment rule, I suppose. No more Lead Belcher paint? Exactly. This is the worst thing, I know.
You do have that very cool new Grell Fire Fist, which is kind of like a bit like a Lead Belcher. Nobblers as a unit are going away, but there are still Nobblers sort of sprinkled around.
Getting underfoot.
Yeah, there's still. I saw a few people worried that Nobblers were going to kind of disappear completely from the lore and from the army.
They're basically disappearing from the lore and the army. Gone to Legends mean you delete them and you have to smash up your models. It's the worst.
The Scrap Launcher still has Nobblers. So they work more like the goblins and the critters that kind of hang out with the crawlers that hang out with the Sons of Bahamut, rather than a unit in their own right. And then the last two are the Great Moorpot goes away, mostly because Red now carries it around with him, and the Mournfangs go away, but that's because they're effectively replaced by Moorbeast cavalry.
Moorbeast, yeah. Nice. Okay, hopefully that answers that.
At least they answered it.
A fairly heavily asked question. A lot of people want to know, would it be possible to get a status update on the state of Warcry?
Yeah, so we got quite a few questions about Warcry. We didn't cover Warcry in the preview. We will have some Warcry news for you quite soon. One thing we can confirm today is that there are some new Warcry rules on the way, and they will cover, amongst other things, the new Ogre War Tribes miniatures that are on their way.
Okay.
Great.
So something
This one
Warcry.
is an old war
New
question.
edition, maybe.
Orion falling in Krollmore's trap and falling in battle is a momentous moment in the lore. Unfortunately, it's a bit light on details. Are there any plans to explore this event, or do you have any details you can share about it? It might be a bit messed up, but the Beastmen would 100% make a banner out of his remains, I think.
I agree. So quite a few questions about the lore of the old world, which I quite enjoy because it's something I'm really into. This is a good example of which. The first thing is that, yes, he fell into
they'll still be valid.
The trap, but he comes back every year, so he'll probably just come back angrier the following year. And it's a nice indicator of the things that the old world team are doing with the lore. They're exploring
that's right.
places
They remade the
and
auxiliary detachment.
Events that they've not been able to before. So quite
just
exciting to see what else is coming.
Thing now,
I'm really interested in more stuff on the Three Emperors, for example.
There is a sort of implication with Orion that before you, every sort of spring, a hero is sort of sacrificed to have him reborn, and that's kind of something that comes a lot through the kind of elf mythology, right? There's a cool book series on it.
We haven't had an Orion model for a long time.
Warhammer Fantasy Times.
Very old
trilogy
Warhammer
about
Fantasy
Orion and how he comes back to life every summer and winter.
Nice, I've not read that. So my go. Without any confusion or room for doubt or question, will the new Custodes models be supported rules-wise for Warhammer 40,000 in 11th edition? Are they going to Legends?
They're not going to Legends, they will be supported. All the new Custodes plastics will be usable in Warhammer 40,000 as themselves in Warhammer 40,000, with all the guns and all the options and all the things you'd want.
Perfect.
And then all the old stuff goes to Legends, and you have nothing for your Custodes range except having to rebuy everything in 30k plastic. Ah ha 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 ha. It's something like that. Sure, that's good and better, and not like what they did where they said with many things like the Duradaio Dreadnought, oh yeah, that's coming out the start of, well, it was roughly the start of 10th edition of 40k. You can use all of these 30k things in 40k, and there wasn't even like a Legends data sheet. That took a long time to do anything with. So this is why when Games Workshop announces a product, don't buy it. When Games Workshop announces rules for a product, don't assume they're real. When they release the rules for a product, don't accept that those are the rules, as they did with Yarick and the Twin Lance and the Tyrannid Warrior with Lash Whip, and basically anything that they've released in the last 6 months. It's had a rules change in a few weeks after it was released as a model, unrelated to the start of 11th edition.
No room for doubt. All there. Yeah.
Are you going to sell pre-made Battle March box sets?
Are we going to sell pre-made Battle March box sets? Yes, we announced 2 in the Big Summer Preview, actually.
So that's basically saying, is there going to be a Combat Patrol version of Warhammer Fantasy, Old World?
2 are Warriors of Chaos and the Army of Grand Cathay. They are tuned to be 600-point armies. So there's information in there which shows you the upgrades and things they might have. So that the idea is you can put them straight on the table and just play a game of Battle March with them right away. And we can expect there to be more in the future. It's going to be a really good way, I think, of dipping your toe into the Old World and starting playing great Old World games.
I know a lot of people like Old World for the massive armies of 2,000 points with dragons and stuff. I like the small stuff. I think it's cool having a vampire and his little entourage wandering around, killing people. That's a good way to spend a weekend. I mean, on the tabletop.
Sweet. Well, I very much appreciated...
What was that? Something just passed by the camera.
To the Old World and starting playing great Old World games. Sweet. What?
Whoa, it's freaky jump scare. Whoa, freaky jump scare time. We did not need that. That's not a transition. That's definitely some obsession level stuff of someone running in front of the camera. Why are they running in front of the camera? Edit these videos, please, Games Workshop. That was freaky.
While I very much appreciated the comparison of the new plastic Telemon Dreadnought to his Leviathan and Saturnine cousins, I would love to see an apples-to-apples comparison of the plastic Telemon to the currently available resin version.
No, but I've got 2 apples right here, as it turns out. So this is the, very carefully, the current resin Telemon Dreadnought. And this is the new plastic Telemon Dreadnought.
Quite nerve-wracking moving them around, isn't it?
Can you zoom in?
I mean, they're pretty much the same.
Can we see the
same kind of size?
Maybe half a centimetre bigger.
Yeah, a little bit bulkier in places. The shoulder pads are a slightly different shape. The missiles
so basically the same. You don't need to buy a new one. I mean, you should never buy a new one.
Higher,
Second edition emulator works just as well as the 9th edition one. You can definitely have
both in an army very happily, but they are ever so slightly bigger.
8th edition.
Nice.
Can we expect the hinted at Demons of Tzeentch army list for the Horus Heresy to be similar to classic Tzeentch army lists from other games? Or can we expect it? Can we expect to see some more ambiguous Ruinstorm flavour, unique unit entries, and unit upgrades? And what does it mean for my Ruinstorm demons?
Right. So the way that the new Journal Tactica, which deals with Valdor helping in the burning of Prospero, introduces the
they're redoing the burning of Prospero.
That is a separate detachment that includes a whole bunch of demons, for example, a Lord of Change and Blue Horrors and so on. You can use it as a standalone thing. You can also fold it into the existing Demons of the Ruinstorm PDF army. So if you already collect one of those, it's essentially an additional detachment you can use with those. And it doesn't replace the Demons of the Ruinstorm. So they're 2 separate things that you can either use together or separately. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good.
So like you've got
going back to Chaos Warriors, new Chaos
1,000 Suns in 40k. You can play 1,000 Suns or you can play generic demons. They're both options. Oh yeah, weapon upgrades for new Chaos Warriors. I don't know if they have halberds as an option.
Sorry, awesome. Any plans for weapon upgrade packs for them?
Thanks for the money for the hand.
We don't know the specifics of weapon upgrade packs yet, but they'd be a very good candidate for it. One thing we do know is that the kits will already have some cross-compatibility between, for example, the Chaos Knights and the Chaos Warriors. So if you wanted to swap line axes and spears and stuff like that between the models, you could.
Yeah, so yeah, the Chaos Warriors and the Chaos Knights trade brilliantly, and who knows what the future holds.
With the...
It's there again! It's there again! Is it someone swiping the screen? Is it meant to be like a TikTok thing where you cover the screen with your hand and then you're suddenly in a new place? What are they doing? It just looks like someone running back and forth in front of the camera. Don't do that. Okay, is Prospero the 30k Armageddon? No, because there's only one Battle of Prospero, rather than 3, then 4, then 5. It's the hand transition. Right.
Release of the new Titan weapons for Legions Imperialis, there are a few missing from the list, such as the warp missiles for the Reaver or the shoulder-mounted turbo laser destructors, an aggro Gatling blaster arm for the Warlord, or the canopy-mounted Bellicosa volcano cannon for the Warbringer, to name just a few. Will we be seeing a second wave at a later date to complete the list of all the weapons for the God Machine?
I'm sure half the reason that we make all these esoteric Titan weapons is so that you and I have to say them out loud.
They do have a lot of specialist games they need to, in some way, continue supporting.
I would imagine the team behind Legions Imperialis,
like Titanicus, sort of.
Filling all these interesting corners.
Like
I would imagine there's more coming
Aeronautica,
that
they released a really good animation for
at some point. Good question. Are the Necromunda gangs in the new box the same as the existing gangs, or are they variations?
They're the same models.
The new Necromunda core set has an Escher gang and a Goliath gang. They are brand new.
Those are new, but everything else
kits,
is
so they are effectively an expansion of the current gangs. You can add them onto the current gangs. The current gangs don't go away, but they give you a whole new range of.
You can still use your 90s ones that are metal.
Yeah, perfect supplement to existing gangs if you're already a Necromunda collector or a great way to start.
Super pumped for Necromunda. Which gangs can we expect to see rules for in the new edition?
I would expect all
the gangs
6.
of the Underhive and gangs of the Outland books.
I'm glad you asked. I prepared an answer. It involves folding out a sheet. Brace yourselves. I'm going to say these quickly. Gangs of the Underhive includes Dilak, Escher, Goliath, Orlok, Vansar, Cawdor, Palanite Enforcers, Venator gangs, Corpse Grinder cults, Palanite Justicar delegations, Hive Scum. Then the Lutherpathan Excavator, Automata, the Jotun Servitor Ogrin, the Rogue Doc, Ammojack, Dome Runner, Slopper, Hive Watcher, Clan Rat, Miliosaur, and Ripperjack. Outlands include Outcasts, Free Ogrins, Genestealer Cults, Chaos Helots, the Mouse Strain, Spire Hunters, Ironhead Squats, Ashways Nomads, Hive Scum, Cal Jericho, and his little friend Scabs, Ozostium Aranthus, Carotid Servitor, Lady Hera, Hermiatus, Lutherpathan Excavation, Automata, Jotun, there's a lot. Jotun, Servitor, Ogrin, Rogue, Doc, Ammojack, Dome Runner, Slopper.
Okay, there's a few. We get it. So the major things we've heard so far is we know Exodites exist. They're aware that Imperial agents need more help, but whether they get it in future is very much looking like maybe, but maybe no. They've got a list of what units are going to Legends for Ogres and Age of Sigmar. That's probably the most impactful thing of the Q&A.
For Hive Watcher, Giant Rat, Miliosaur, Ripperjack, Guildridge Hauler, and the gangs have their respective vehicles that you'd expect to see.
No, they're not mentioning 3 detachment point problems.
Who the hell is that strapping young Goliath model we've seen in the images? Not included in the star box? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, we got a few questions about this. There is an as yet unannounced, unreleased Goliath model in a few of the pictures.
He's actually an
on the
Ultramarine.
Warhammer community site.
More info
coming soon. Maybe there's more. Maybe he's not alone. Who knows?
See, this is what I love about a Q&A. There's the question, and the answer is, well, I don't know. Hey, maybe you should stay tuned and wait for another live stream of some sort where we'll show it off. I'm fine with doing a thing just for content's sake. Arguably, this is what I'm doing today. I don't think it's quite the same when a very rich company does the same thing as me. Thank you for the monies, everyone. If anyone wants to give more money, there's a Ko-fi link in the description. That'll pop up on screen. Okay, let's continue.
I've got a few more quick-fire Necromunda questions for you. Some of them you've already hinted at the answers for. Are Necromunda gang vehicles being retired?
No. No, the rules for those are in the gang books.
Are the Corpse Grinders, Enforcers, Chaos, and Genestealer gangs being retired?
Well, he's just answered no, so you don't need to
mention them
answer that question. Don't ask the question you don't need to answer.
There are rumours circulating online that a lot of the deeper rules and campaign rules are being removed from this edition of Necromunda to make it more like a kill team game. Is this true?
No, not at all, really. No, I think it's just fair to say they're not. There's a lot to say about Necromunda and the things that are changing. We talked a bit about those gang books for a start. The gang books are designed to exist for the entire lifespan of this edition of Necromunda. So a few people have wondered, you know...
Thank you for the monies.
Will these be replaced? The answer is no. They'll be the bedrock upon which Necromunda journals that would follow will add new lore and units and whatever. The only gang which is essentially disappearing for a while is the Badlands Enforcers gang, and that will return in the future, actually.
Cool.
Will Warhammer Academy be supported with subtitles into languages?
Warhammer Academy, so you don't know, is just going to be not a paid academy. It's not like some of the YouTube channels that are like, hey, we've got a paid service where you can get official coaching. Like Paul's getting coaching from a guy and he's, I assume, paying him to give him tips on how to play 40k. Very much not how I like to do things. I mean, I'll help you out if you've got an army list or a problem or you want an army list. I do have an option on my Ko-fi link and you can have like 30 minutes chatting to me and I will solve your problem. That's very different to coaching. Anyway, this academy thing is not coaching either. It's just where they're going to have their videos explaining how to play the game. Because you cannot just read the rulebook of 40k and know how to play 40k. That's not how it works, because all the rules are not in the rulebook. Why would they be?
It will. It will be supported in English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean.
Oh, yes. So not American. That's a shame.
I think it's 8. English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Yes.
Poor Americans in their Washington, whichever one of the 3.
Can you give examples of how the new Necromunda will be balanced and streamlined?
Oh no, did they say that about Necromunda? It's like 40k, more balanced and more narrative. I think they've just learned these are like keywords that people type in and want. They don't know how to deliver them, but they're going to advertise them as being there.
So, I have to be brief, but the new rules for Necromunda essentially have done a couple of things. In terms of balance, obviously the team have looked to make sure that the gangs are fun to use against each other and that all the units have a use and an option that makes sense. In terms of streamlining, I think that's where it gets quite interesting. There's simple things like the save characteristic of a model now appears on its profile, which means that there's less brain strain when you're like looking at your gang and trying to work out what you need to roll. Okay. There's some things such as the way that range modifiers work with weapons. They don't impact your to hit roll. So your to hit roll is straight off your ballistic skill. So that speeds up the process of making your to hit rolls.
But you want it to be dependent on the range. That's a big part of Necromunda. It's been a big part of like older 40k. It's a big part of Warhammer Fantasy. Oh, you're shooting over half range, -1 to hit. Yeah, I don't think that streamlining it means getting rid of it. Like, I'm not really enjoying fast rolling in 40k because the important bit, which it would have sped up, where you roll damage, then you roll feel no pain, then you roll damage, then you roll feel no pain, that's all still there, slowing down the game. Damage rolls are still 1 at a time. And then the number of things that have been broken very quickly, as we've seen by the recent FAQ for America Place. A lot of them are related to having to fast roll dice. Who gets hit? Things like the Archon Shadowfield. Things like Miracle Dice for the Sisters. All of this has been negatively impacted by the introduction of fast dice rolling. It's fine for hit rolls. It's fine for wound rolls. Sort of. Doing it as saves gets a bit weird.
But there's some concern that this sort of thing will cause like a simplification of the game, and people have enjoyed the sort of the crunch and the depth of Necromunda.
Simplified, not simple, was last edition. This is narrative stuff.
Plays out later in the sequence, so will affect cover saves. And then there's things like if you've ever made an insanity test in Necromunda.
Yeah, I'll do starter army list.
If you fail,
stuff. Once
the person who's
the rules are a bit more settled
made you take the test essentially has this weird situation where they have to make you do a thing with your model which has failed its insanity test. And how mean do you be? It can cause like a stalling in the game and some unusual interactions. It's just resolved now. There's a nice table. You roll on the insanity table if you fail the test, and that's what your ganger does. So the game is every bit as deep, and I think people like to use the word crunchy, as it's ever been. The team have just poured a lot of passion and care into making it flow.
There's the thing, crunchy. That's a word they know we use. So we've advertised, this game is even more crunchy. Like it's a breakfast cereal. So we're going to describe it as crunchy. They don't know if that's a positive word necessarily. Sure. We say fluff and crunch. Fluff being like the narrative elements, the story-driven parts, and then crunch is the dice rolling. I think Necromunda, of all things, as a campaign game, should be far more fluffy than it is crunchy.
Smoothly and seamlessly to reduce the strain on your brain when you're playing, so you can concentrate on the tactics and the fun.
If you want narrative and fluffy, you do Necromunda.
This is a random one. Hi, what do you think tastes better?
So when they were saying before, oh yeah, there's rumors of like they're going to cut down on all the campaign stuff, and then it's going to be a lot more like Kill Team. Like, no, that definitely won't happen. Now they're saying, yes, it'll definitely be more crunchy. It can't be both, Games Workshop.
Chris, Earthshade or Nuln Oil?
I mean, asking the big questions here. I think the real answer is don't drink your paint.
That is definitely the answer. And the worst paint I've accidentally had in my mouth is undoubtedly Typhus Corrosion because it's really bitty.
Don't eat Typhus Corrosion, kids. Don't do it.
I mean, I'm glad they're at least saying something sensible. If you do want paint, there's a link in the description. Golden Maple, they do brushes. They also do paints. There's a discount on at the moment, and you can add on my discount code of Vtuber. It stacks, and you can get like 50% off the paints and brushes and things, depending on the sale they've got going, as long as you use my code as well. Really big discounts. Don't miss it out. Link in the description.
I've got one for you.
Nice.
I've been wondering, since you guys updated the Black Library app, are there any plans to make a Warhammer TV app? I'd love to be able to watch Lawmasters and animations on a big screen without having to jump through the hoops.
My last card is actually the answer to this question. I went and found out you can currently watch Warhammer TV in a number of ways. You've got
they probably meant
the web browser
granular
version
rather than
that you use on your PC or Mac or whatever. You've got Apple iOS for mobile and tablet, Apple TV OS if you use Apple TV, Google Android, Google Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and there's more TV apps on the way this year, including LG. So at that point, every TV in my house, I can watch Warhammer. How many
TVs do you have?
There we go.
That's the end of my questions.
That's the end of my questions. All that remains, I guess, is to say thank you to everybody that took the time to send questions in. It really was a pleasure to read through them all. Sorry we couldn't answer all of them, but there's only so much time in the day. If you enjoyed this, let us know. Put your comments in the boxes at the bottom of things, and we'll do another one if it went down well.
Well, the top comments that they keep around will probably be like, yeah, this went well. This went well. Whether or not we think it went well, they'd be like, hey, people might have just enjoyed hearing about Warhammer for a while, and that's fine. That's a totally normal and acceptable thing to have happen. You can just listen to someone talk about Warhammer for a bit. Comments so far are generally like, hey, what about my army? Hey, what about my army? Hey, why are the Mechanicus in 30k different to 40k? When are we doing more legacy armies for Old World? When are we expanding this? When are we going to rework Imperial Agents? When are we going to do more Imperial Agents? Why do you hate World Eaters? When are you going to do Steel Legion? Yeah, it's a lot of army-specific things. I don't know if they particularly care about what's happened in the Q&A. I don't know if those are considered positive comments as far as the Games Workshop staff are concerned. That's still engagement. But there's nothing negative appearing. Just, ooh, thank you for the update on Warcry, which was, yeah, I guess maybe there'll be something for Warcry. We're not killing Warcry immediately. Something will Warcry at some point. The cry of war will continue. There's a few comments about Imperial Agents, with snarky comments in response. Why'd you play Imperial Agents? Why did you buy a Codex? Oh my goodness, didn't you know that they were a terrible army before you bought that book? Why did you therefore buy that book? Then we get to the more insulting comments. Yeah, these were basic questions. They answered the questions that they didn't want to or they didn't really answer questions. This was a waste of time. What are you doing? Why is this the way, Games Workshop? Stuff like that. Did they answer anything? Well, they told us what's going to Legends for Ogres. That was something. That was something. And we know exactly what gangs are in the different gang books for Necromunda. That's new information. Otherwise, things are either happening or not happening, but we are aware that you asked a question about it. Okay. Did you miss out on anything? They didn't really talk much about the boxes that are coming. Yeah, write the more agent comments like, hey, please sort out Imperial agents. I paid money for this codex, and it doesn't have an army rule. Its detachments are terrible beyond being able to be used. And we're not getting new detachments. All I would guess is that at some point there'll be a kill team update of something, and yeah, you can also, like the Sanctifiers. Sanctifiers, is that the right one? Adeptus Sororitas Ministorum people who can also be used in Imperial Agents. New Deathwatch unit that you can also use in Imperial Agents. Yes, they did very much say the date of the next update, which is the 22nd of July. Woo! Most important thing to find out. I will try not to be busy that day, and then I can do updates on the rules. I don't know whether to do a generic rules update video or like faction-specific ones. Faction-specific ones should be better. Yeah, when that comes out, remind me in the Discord, in my Von Carmian video channel. Hey, you remember you're going to do things that are faction-specific rather than a generic thing? Do that. Otherwise, it will be a video that takes 5 or 6 hours to make, and you'll get it like at 9 p.m. Much better to do several small ones. You have bought a lot of agents in Imperial Knights. We also don't have Stormtroopers for Imperial Agents. That's one I really think they should have brought across. There's so many different kinds of Stormtroopers now. Tempestus Scions, regular Scions, Kazakin are pretty Stormtroopery. So many elf flavors. Oh yeah, you can use elves in the elf army. No, borrowing Lehman Russes. We do have allied detachments. They exist. They could use them. Have a Inquisition, but it allies with the Imperial Guard. Now, Space Marines, you can say, okay, we've got the Deathwatch thing. That's fair enough. Or if it's going to be the Sisters you're allying with, that's Hordo Hereticus, so that's covered. But just borrowing Imperial Guard stuff is much more normal. Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. That's right. You can't play Imperial Agents at 1K because every detachment is 3 detachment points. There was an announcement on Warhammer Community to say, yeah, the detachment rule thing, we're going to make it so you can have any one detachment as your army, regardless of detachment points. That may only be for doubles events. Doubles events is also the only place officially where there's a cap on the number of command points you can generate per turn in 40k. It's 1 extra by any source except the one you get in your command phase. Like the specific one you get in the command phase, not, oh yeah, you get a command point from the Swarm Lord in your command phase. That doesn't count. No, that counts. That is your 1 extra one. Really, they should sort out Imperial Agents in this first balancy thing of July, but they may stick to core rules until then. Run Rogue Trader crews and Navy next to your sisters? Well, you can already do that in 2 different ways. You can play Imperial Agents, where you have all 3 of those units, as long as it's basic battle sisters, sisters of battle, and immolators. And then, if you play Adeptus Sororitas, you can ally in 1 unit, maybe 2 units, 2 characters, 2 units, 2 retinue units. And there you go. Do you think the present 11th edition has more potential than 10th? In the basic core rules, it's good, generally. But for all of the thinking about releases, no. I'm seeing less potential. I don't know what they'll do with campaigns, but we know they're not going to do Crusade. So that cuts out one major thing. Are the campaign books going to be mainly about detachments? Are they going to have missions based on disposition? New missions? New missions? Maybe? It could be like the mission deck. Yeah, this is not going to be a proper fix. This is going to be a, oh my goodness, we need to sort out the problems here for the most played armies, or what should be the most played armies. So maybe they'll do something about Guard. Something. The Guard's biggest problems at the moment is that their infantry cost too many points. Have I got that right? That was my general understanding from playing against guard people recently. 75 points, 145 points for 10 or 20 guard. 75 points for 10 orcs, 150 points for 20 orcs. Doesn't quite compare, does it? I think that those orc boar units, the ones they mentioned that are going to have in a squad of 20, like 2 flamers, 2 big shooters, 2 rocket launchers. Is there another weapon? Maybe that's all the weapons. And also 2 knobs, each with 3 wounds. And they're all going to have toughness 5 minimum. That should be expensive, right? All the core rules changes are bad for guard? I mean, the ones that have already happened, like going 10th to 11th, they really need to sort out a lot of their support characters. Or which ones are support, like commissars and priests should be support. Do they have priests anymore? They don't have priests anymore, do they? Regimental preachers, they're just minister and priest from agents now, aren't they? Grizzled company is 3 detachment points. Okay. Yeah. Oh, they still have priests. Oh, that's good. They should be support. Guard really wants to play, I assume, take and hold. But they do have a lot of units, so they could do anything action related. Maybe not reconnaissance, because that involves getting into the enemy board half quite a bit and doing a few actions. No, you'd probably be better doing take and hold, surely. Wish it was 2 characters total, leader and support, or 2 support. Then I wonder, are we getting into positions where we've got like 2 canonesses in a unit, and you suddenly have like, well, one of them's going to pop their 2+ invulnerable save and tank all the damage that's applied to the canonesses. Then next time the other one will do it, and they'll be the target. And yeah, I don't think that would work well. I like the sentiment, but no. Right, yeah, the Minister and Priests buff human melee. Not even with Catachans. Yeah, I see how guard take and hold works. +1 OC, plus another one in OC. Yeah, that okay, yes, you can get to 104 objective control. What detachments was I playing against that was take and hold? One of them was it wasn't Grizzled Company for sure. Was it Mini Recon? Oh, Mini Recon might be take and hold. I could look. I do have the link after all. That's not the right link. That's a link to my channel. Why would anyone go there and then click the subscribe button? Astra Militarum. Where are the detachments? Oh, they're in the middle. Yeah. Oh, Abhuman Auxiliaries is taken hold. Oh yeah, Mini Recon is of course reconnaissance. What was I thinking? Combined arms is 3 detachment points. Okay. Yeah, I think I must have played against armored infantry and designation force. Grizzle Company's 3 detachment points. Oh yeah, just combine arms rather than combine regiment. Also kind of makes sense. A surprising number of these are Purge the Foe. You can come and look with me if you want. They could do big tanks. But there you go. Yeah, definitely. I played Sisters, Army of Faith with Forest of Condemnation into Armored Infantry with Designation Force, because the joke was, well, one of us is probably going to play Take and Hold, one of us will play Recon, just so it's not a mirror match. When get away from that in 11th edition. So I said, I'll be Reconnaissance, they get Take and Hold, which is what the Guard wanted anyway. There was definitely Hellhounds in the Combined Arms. No, I'm thinking the different one. Armored Infantry. Chimeras. There was definitely Chimeras in Armored Infantry. And also Hellhounds. They popped to Exorcists. I like my Exorcists. A lot of Purge the Foe. You can do the tactic of Purge the Foe. That's still valid. And especially when, I think it was, well, in the FAQ for America event, they said, yeah, it's essentially an app error that anything that's end of game scoring is scored in turn 5. It should be separate. So it's a maximum of 15 victory points on primary each battle round. After that, end of game scoring, where you can get 5 or 10 depending on the mission, or 0 depending on the mission. So you could score up to, we're on 30, add up slowly, 75. You could get up to 85 points on primary, but capping out at 45. It's very easy to do all of your primary score in the last 2 turns, turn 4, turn 5, end of game scoring, doing like no primary victory points early on, as long as you can murder your opponent. Then it doesn't matter what disposition you're in. You just kill the enemy. If you give an enhancement to a commissar when you have the well, any enhancement. Because there is one enhancement that lets the commissar attach to Ogrins in that detachment. In that abhuman auxiliary detachment. I think it also gives him a 4+ feel no pain. Or maybe that's not meant to do it. No, alright, that's the Grizzled Company. Yeah, the one in the abhuman auxiliaries gives them a 4+ feel no pain. And you can't combine that with Grizzled Company. Hello, commenter. Thank you for wishing me a good stream. When orcs in the Codex probably go up more points. I don't think there'll be bonus points for power claws. I think they're trying to balance power claws and big choppers so that they're equally really strong and like 2 damage each. They did mention agents, yes. And I took a while to think about it. With agents, they noticed that they had the comment question sent a lot of times, hey, what's happening with agents? Are they going away? You can tell me. And the answer was, oh yeah, we didn't give them any detachments on launch. Don't worry, they'll still exist. The RBTs, I think they said RBTs, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, is a very cool unit, and you can play with it. That's about it. They didn't say there'll be more agents. They didn't say the agents will get support, but very soon, or not in the next balance patch, but maybe by September. If any time was to give them more support, I would say September. But even looking at the stuff in Legends, like the Deathwatch Legends is so much worse than just generic Space Marine stuff. Or continuing with Space Marine Deathwatch, the stuff that's not in Legends. I miss the Proteus Kill Team. I miss Kill Team Cassius. I want them to be generic Space Marines. I don't think they'll do it with Proteus Kill Team anymore. They didn't seem to like having 4 Terminators and a bike and 5 Marines together. It's definitely not Arbitrator. That's the traitor kind. That's how you describe someone who's gone rogue from the Arbiter. RBTs. Arbites. Police. Special police. They're more like special FBI, but they're not like special FBI. They're Judge Dredd. They operate out of precincts like Judge Dredd does in the Judge Dredd comics. It's Judge Dredd. Now, was that an Australian comic? Or was it a British comic? I know it's Mega City 1, so I'm pretty sure it's set in America. Whenever somewhere's like, oh, there's so much crime here and it's horrible crime, they tend to go for America. No, it's not RoboCop. RoboCop would be like one Mechanicus model. British but set in America. That makes sense, yeah. Because it was 2000 AD comics, wasn't it? Yeah. They're British. I want agents with other detachments of other armies. Yep, I was mentioning that. Especially Imperial Guard. Other armies, I don't know if we really need stuff. Because we can... Custodes. Maybe Custodes. You can already take knights. Admech would work. Have a good Admech detachment. Looking at other ones. We've already got Death Watch. We've already got Grey Knights, essentially, but there's only the Terminators. So you could do more with the Grey Knights. Like, think of the Demon Hunters as that should be a 1 detachment point thing. Or we'll do this the other way around, maybe. And then you have a Ordo Malleus strike force, which is Grey Knights allied in with the agents. And the Grey Knights also get to be affected by a big detachment rule. That would work nicely. For Space Marines, you have got Death Watch. I know they also fight alongside them in other ways. Inquisitorial Land Raider full of Blade Guard? With no army rule? Well, going off the recent FAQ, they have fixed their special shields where you reroll invulnerable saves of 1. I always found it kind of annoying. It's like, oh, well, I'm probably going to go with a 3+ armor save rather than a 4+ invulnerable save, rerolling 1s. So I'll just go for the swords every time. I was right, 2000 AD. Comics, yes, good. Great. Great stuff. Does this mean I'm done with the live stream? Because it's far too hot at the moment. Xenos weapons on Inquisitors? Well, we already have a couple of them. The Ordo Xenos ones have the special alien weapons. Yeah. Right, yeah, I've got nothing else planned. I don't want to try and pull anything else out of this live stream. I think this is where we end the live stream. It's been an okay FAQ. No, the other one, Q&A. FAQ video. Go watch my FAQ video that I released like 2 hours ago. That'll work. Yeah. I need to get cooler. It is very hot. I'm gonna check the temperature. Cool. 22 degrees. That's quite warm. Haha, don't like that. Lovely. Right, next video to come out should be a video on dispositions. Yeah, we'll do a dispositions video. Don't know if that'll be Sunday, maybe Monday. That's what we'll get. And then we'll start working on more Sisters videos. Because it looks like the Sisters rule is going to work as I thought it did. Therefore, I can continue making videos about it. Genestealer Cult, gotta wait for that official fix to their army rule. Then I can make Genestealer Cult videos. That'll be nice. Lovely to see you all. I hope you have a very cool day. Except in Australia, where it should be warmer. Right, bye-bye. The words on screen say subscribe. Bye.